In the NPC, we'll talk about who the title favourites actually are. The All Blacks 15 has been named. Now, these players should be the next cabs off the rank for the All Blacks. So we talk whether or not they actually are. And we're joined by a couple of guests as well. We've got former All Black Rugby World Cup winner Ali Williams joining us on this fine desk of ours. And maybe a future All Black as well. Fabian Holland is on the program, Jeff Wilson, Mils Muliaina and Sir John Kerwin. Good to have you all back on the program. This is our first time together in what feels like months.
Whose fault is it? Is it his fault?
I feel like it's a combination.
Oh, combination.
It's the entire team. It is the entire team. But just quickly, Hoskins Sotutu, he is back in black. Not quite the All Blacks, JK, but the All Blacks 15. You must be happy about this.
Yeah, I am happy. Does he? Does that mean he doesn't qualify? Are those old rules still about? I don't know anything about this, Mills. But if you play for the All Black 15, does that mean you're not allowed to play for England because he's got an English passport?
Hold on, do you not want him back in the All Blacks?
Yeah, but if you're Hoskins Sotutu, right, and you don't think you've got a chance, and you've got a chance to go and play for England, then does he play for the 15?
He wants to be an All Black. In my view,
he is an All Black.
Well, he's All Black. He wants to be an All Black again.
He
wants an All Black again. I think it's a simple conversation. He's been named in this squad. He hasn't said anything otherwise. Let's bring on the tour and see what he brings. Yeah.
Just quickly, before we move on, the final four have been found in the NPC. No Auckland, no Southland. Just to confirm, Mills, who have you been supporting this year? My team's in. Home semi-final for Bay of Plenty at the Tauranga Domain, Saturday at 4 p.m.
I thought you were Waikato.
No way, JK. Who are you, Millsy?
Waikato, of course.
Since when?
Hey, since the start of the season.
OK, well, your team's still alive then, Millsy. Your team is still alive. And I tell you what, the Black Ferns are alive and kicking as well after taking out France this morning in WXV1, their final test of 2024. It has been... Well, it's been a tough run for them so far this year. A 50-50 win record. They've played 8 test matches and they have only won half of them. A couple of games against Australia, one this morning against France and then USA. So how do you rate their season a year out from the World Cup? Do results matter between World Cups?
Totally. I think it's a really disappointing season. I think they'd be gutted. They're world champions and you'd expect world champions to come off the back of being world champions and have better results. Are they rebuilding? Possibly, but I think they'd have to be disappointed.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you rewind, before the last World Cup, when they went on a tour sort of similar, really, and they were given a hiding, then they've come back and they ended up winning the Rugby World Cup. I think they are rebuilding. I think there's still sort of key positions that they're trying to find sort of personnel in, obviously your playmakers, but there's also, a bit of the spine sort of starting to sort of form. I think having been on tour now, they're able to face that. It's tough when you're not sort of winning, but evidently, because they won that last game, I think that'll I suppose, when they sort of digest everything else, they'll put them in better stead.
Why do results matter in between World Cups? Because we saw that in 2021, it did not matter when they won the Rugby World Cup 8 months later. So aside from legacy...
Yeah, I don't agree with that, though, Kirsty. And I don't agree with that because there was an absolute fallout. There was we're never going to win the World Cup, called in Wayne Smith, transformed the team. So that was crisis.
So are they not in the same mode right now?
I don't think so. I think Mills is right. I think they're possibly in rebuild mode. But I think, lose to England, we sort of get that. Like us losing to South Africa as the All Blacks, OK, they're world champions, not happy, but OK. But I think, losing the first time or whatever it was to Canada was probably not what you wanted on the strip.
They don't have the benefit of time. That's the challenge for them. They didn't have it last time, and it was a miraculous turnaround with some really talented players. This is a different group. This is a different group in key positions you talked about. I actually think they're in the exact same position that the All Blacks are in right now, where they've shown a lot of potential, they've got a lot of ability, they can play well for periods of the game, but then they fall off at key moments, and they are suffering the fact they're not finishing games as well as they need to as well. They've got a new coaching staff who I think haven't experienced the pressure they're under now. And so they've got, without time and without test matches, to prepare for a Rugby World Cup, which is going to be really challenging. They've got some personnel to come back though, Kirsty, right? Some key players.
Understandable that the Sevens players, some players will make themselves available for the Rugby World Cup. It happens every cycle. It just is a matter of Who? Who are the players and what positions?
Well, if I look at it, it's what's going to happen around their playmakers, and that's critical for me. And where actually their skipper, Ruahei, Dement plays, is probably going to determine what else you need around her. They'll get some help in the midfield, there's no doubt about that. I still look at, like I say, it's a fact. I see all the potential, I see all the right signs, I see all the possibilities. There's a balance, there is plenty of experience still there. But it's whether or not this team and those players and this coaching staff can connect quick enough and get better quickly, because that's
what do they have, excuse my ignorance, but what do they have pre-World Cup?
Well, they have Super Rugby Aupiki, and then they will have Pac 4, which is the competition between the Southern Hemisphere teams. The Australian, when we talk about the Australians, they're not quite good enough competition-wise at the moment. Canada are fantastic, USA, middle of the road. We need tougher test matches against the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, absolutely. And we need to be able to improve. We need an opportunity to improve. And like you say, we haven't going to get those back-to-back test matches. But let's think about what it's going to take a Rugby World Cup to win. It's going to be maybe 2-3 games. And I think that's the challenge, is that getting those games now, the pressure you've got, that's not going to happen. You're just going to have to feel your way to a Rugby World Cup, and then all of a sudden, bang, you've got 2 games you have to win, a semi-final and a final, against teams who are proving right now they are slightly better than us.
So your confidence level, 10 months out from the Rugby World Cup, is it where it needs to be?
It's 50-50.
It's 50-50. Yeah, what's happened here?
Yeah, my mic's still on. Tried to shut me up, but I think JK was supposed to have my mic. So.
Well, I feel like we're at the karaoke bar in Roppongi.
It's got that switch from Goldie where he just wants to switch it off.
Well, I'll tell you what, our great friend and teammate, Honey Hirimi Smiler, she wrote a book, and a few weeks ago we told you that we're going to give away 5 copies. So, to those of you that answered the question right, and I tell you what, overwhelming demand for Honey's book. We had over 500 people send in the right answer, so everyone wants to get their hands on this. Here are our wonderful winners, Trish, Lee, Darren, Sue and Carl. Congratulations. We're sending out copies of Honey's book to you, and if you didn't win, then you can buy yourself a copy in all good bookstores or look it up online. Well, another team was named this week, not just the All Blacks squad to travel on the end of your tour, but the All Blacks 15. So this is basically who will next be in line for an All Blacks jersey. Jeff, are there any names that surprised you from this 29 list?
It was nice to see some names through the course of not just Super Rugby, but NPC play really well. And Kini Naholo's one for me. All of a sudden for Taranaki, he showed that more consistent performances, back-to-back performances of the things he does well, and made less mistakes because he was a little bit mistake-prone. But for me, he's one. Naitoa Akoi, in transforming himself from a blindside flanker into a lock, I think, to me, is a guy whose stock has well and truly gone up. So those two names that I've pulled out, but everyone here, I think was selections that you could explain because they've played well.
Someone who has just been named in that All Blacks 15 side to tour the UK and Europe is Fabian Holland, and he joins us now on the program. Fabian, thank you so much for your time, and a massive congratulations from all of us here at The Breakdown. Before we get into that, can you tell me how a more than 2 metre tall Dutchman ended up playing rugby here in New Zealand?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I always admired the All Blacks, and as a little kid, always grew up watching them with Dad on the couch, and started playing when I was 5 years old, and always had a dream of chasing that black jersey. And then when I was 16, took a bit of leap of faith and booked a ticket to Christchurch and started my journey there at Christchurch Boys High School. And been a bit of a roller coaster since, but that's kind of how it all started.
It is honestly amazing. I feel like rugby must be a lot bigger in the Netherlands than we probably realise here in New Zealand. But you talked about this dream of playing for the All Blacks since you were about 5 years old when you first picked up a rugby ball. So what does it now mean to be named in the All Blacks 15 side, which basically means you're the next cab off the rank?
It's still pretty surreal. To hear the announcement earlier this week is... I had to pinch myself a few times to make sure it was real. But, proud moment for me and my family, and for a lot of my friends back home. The support and the messages I got afterwards was, yeah, just unbelievable. So, yeah, absolutely surreal, but I'm really excited for the tour.
You have been on the radar for a number of years now. I know the Highlanders fan sitting next to me, Jeff Wilson, has long said that you will be an All Black. It was just about the eligibility. Are you able to explain to us how does the eligibility actually work?
Yeah, so the rule was always that you had to be a resident in New Zealand for 5 years, so 60 months, and high school years didn't count with that. So it was post high school that you had to be a citizen for 5 years, and then you would be eligible. But they changed that, and they changed it to 60 months, so 5 years, being with that rugby union. So that makes high school count as well. So that's how I became eligible, and I'm pretty glad that I did. So.
And I think everyone in New Zealand is pretty glad that you're eligible for New Zealand as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, and if these stats aren't accurate because they are just from Wikipedia, but you're 204 centimetres and 124 kgs. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it sounds about right.
So tell me, have you always been a monster? Did it take you a while to grow into your body growing up?
Yeah, it took me a wee while. I was always quite tall and probably a wee bit skinny, and then when I came to New Zealand, and yeah, that's where I really started growing into my body. The hostel probably took good care of me back in Christchurch, and made me grow into my body quite a bit. So yeah, and that's where I got a bit of a growth spurt in high school, and yeah, came to the size that I am now, I guess.
Must have been really good feeds down there at the hostel in Christchurch, as you said, at Boys High. Now, tell us, you're an absolute machine at the breakdown, which for someone so big, it almost defies the odds. What do you pride yourself in? What areas of the game?
That's a good question. Probably, yeah, I love being in and around the breakdown, and just the physical side of it, and kind of just throwing your body around. But yeah, a bit of an unorthodox, yeah, quite tall, and being able to get quite low and slow the ball down, or even get a turnover. Yeah, I'd like to say I pride myself in that, but yeah, it's just yeah, that's kind of, yeah, like I said, that's kind of what I do a wee bit. Otherwise, I just try to work for my teammates and make sure that after 80 minutes, I know I've done everything I can to help the team get a win. So, yeah.
A couple of months ago, you had an amazing opportunity to join the exclusive Barbarians Club and play in that famous black and white jersey with Sam Whitelock. What did you learn from that experience?
Nah, he was awesome for me. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. He just tried to pass on a few golden nuggets and kind of trying to take me on this wing. And yeah, the whole week he pretty much just asked me questions. It was around the time of the Super Rugby final was on. So unfortunately we didn't make it, of course, but we watched the final together, and he was just pretty much testing me like, oh, what would you do in this situation? What would you do here? And yeah, it was just an awesome experience. And then to share the field with him, yeah, it was a little kid's dream coming true. So yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, he's one of the best to have ever taken to a rugby field. Alongside Brodie Retallick, those two are now gone, which means there are opportunities there in that All Blacks environment. Have you spoken to the All Blacks coaches? Have you talked to Jason Ryan and Scott Robertson? Have they given you any feedback about what they'd like to see from you?
I guess indirectly a wee bit through what the Hollanders want to see from me, and from what I've heard, they pass messages down to the Hollanders and kind of see how I can contribute to the Hollanders and what they like to see, but not directly. I've spoken a few times with Razor while I was in Christchurch, but other than that, it's pretty much just through the Hollanders, I guess.
Well, it is so excellent to see you playing for New Zealand at this level, All Blacks 15. Amazing moment for yourself and for your family. Thank you so much for joining us, and we cannot wait to see you against Munster and Georgia. Travel safe.
Cheers, thank you.
Probably could have made an international goalkeeper. He's got the height, he's got the size, but lucky for us, he is a rugby player. JK, is this guy an All Black in waiting?
Well, from what I've heard, he's coachable. He works hard, and he's 2 metres 4, Mills. And we
That
need,
helps.
like, South Africa continue to produce big men, and it's not something that we've actually produced a lot. A lot of our young guys are now going to basketball. I mean, back in the day, Stephen Adams would have played rugby. So we need big men. So he's a big body, and I think, you know, he's still a young man. It takes some of those guys, like he said, to grow into his body, but also, you know, he started really his apprenticeship at 16 when most Kiwis started at 6. So I think it's a great story.
It is a great story. I mean, but this is the power also of the All Black jersey, right? On a global sense, and that's what we don't realise. He's a guy that's from Holland, as a youngster, that wants to grow up and become an All Black, and he's one step closer to that dream sort of happening. I look at it in this one. I look at this team, and also the All Blacks. If we were here 12 months ago thinking about the All Blacks, the one area that we probably would have had all concern with was probably the locking stocks. I think we're starting to really grow some depth in that, Goldie, and he's one of them. And size is probably the big thing for us. When we lost Retallick, the physicality, point of view. You know, you're looking at Arkoi, he's starting to come through. Walker, Leawede, and now Fabian, Holland, to learn off those guys while he's on tour. I think it's a great asset. And
you mentioned one thing about learning, JK, and getting better. And I think all of our players, not just All Blacks 15 and New Zealand 15 teams, the Black Ferns, everyone's, to me, is judged by their ability over time to improve. At 22 years old, to get himself to this point, that's where Holland's now got to, but he's now got to keep getting better. They're all under pressure for me. If you want to go on and further your career, improve over time. Listen to your coaches, understand, do your reviews, look at your game, and then go on and work on it. Use your time valuably. And I look at this, and there's a lot of guys that need to keep making those step forwards. Now, how many of this group, though, are going to get a true opportunity in 2 games? And the true value of this tour is this. I'll ask the question. Do you think this is when you say the next cab off the rank, reality is this now, we've got Super Rugby, but this is a valuable level about finding out what some of these guys are. And Munster and Georgia?
Well,
What's the
not
quality
just
opposition?
Munster and Georgia, because some of these players are going to get an opportunity to join the All Blacks for their trip to Japan and then later on in their tour against Italy as well. So some of these guys, whether it's the already capped internationals in here or maybe some of the newbies, are going to get an opportunity.
Well, that's massive, right, Mills? If you start thinking about if they're coming off the bench in a test match, that really tells you where the All Black selectors are the ones that have picked this team. I'd be surprised. I don't think they should. I don't agree. The 36 should play in the test matches.
Yeah.
But if they're feeling for whatever reason, but I'm
They've already confirmed they're sending a party in advance to London.
I don't agree with it for one reason, Kirst. I think that this team have two games. They need to go away. They need to get their combinations together. Yeah. Clayton, who probably didn't even pick the side, needs to have this side so that when he can come back, he can say to the coaches, you know, this guy worked well, this guy was coachable, this guy... Yeah. But you taking them out and bringing them back in, I think I would rather take 4 or 5 extra All Blacks.
But those guys, though, are just going as training partners. Some of them may play, some of them may go on, but initially they're going as training partners, and that's a week before their game against Munster. So I'm not adverse to them being in the environment, but I'm interested in your thoughts on that, Mills, about... You know, we picked 36 All Blacks, an All Black squad. Surely they're the guys that should have the responsibility for those 5 test matches.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it will be then. It's just preparing them in that sort of first, giving those guys have some numbers. Guys possibly might come in if there's an injury sort of cover, but 36 All Blacks, that's your team. And I agree with you, JK. I think when you're going over there as All Blacks 15, you want to be able to go over there and use those sort of guys. And I think the All Blacks are going to have an influence, right? They would have said to, Clayton McMillan, these are the guys we want to play in this sort of position. Is it a Holland? Is it Walker Leawede?
You don't want to go to Munster and play and lose. You don't want to do that, right? If you're in the 15, I'm looking at this tour. Georgia are good. Most of the Georgians are playing... especially the forwards, they play in France. They're a really good team. But you don't want to go as an All Black 15 to Munster because you will be All Blacks. So you need to be well prepared. You need to have the coaching staff all aligned and you need to go there. It'll be an amazing atmosphere and you want to win it.
Do you think there's a few unlucky players not to have made it here? If you think about players who were outstanding in Super Rugby like Braden Yosse, Ricky Riccitelli won a Super Rugby title, and then there's Folau Fakatava, Are there any unlucky players?
Well, they're the three names that I was really surprised with. I thought Riccatelli's had a good season. You know, they shared up the hooker responsibilities in the Blues. So, yeah, I don't know what your number 9's done down there, mate.
Oh, I just don't think there's room. I don't think they needed 3 halfbacks in this because they've got 3 halfbacks with the All Blacks.
But he's gone from 3 to 6.
Yeah, but I think, I mean, Noah Hotham obviously has already been elevated into the All Black environment, and Finlay Christie's played close to 30 Test matches. So to jump ahead of those two guys, and Roygaard, Ratama and TJ Perenara, I mean, there's no... So there's the
but what I'm saying,
I know he's
18 months ago, he is number 3.
That's a long time in rugby. That 18 months ago.
OK, so why isn't he getting selected, do you think? Is it his kicking game? Why has he now dropped to 6? What does he need to do to get back into... Because he came on as a reserve.
You can't pick everybody.
In the NPC. In the NPC.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, he's just not there. He's not number 4 or 5. He's not better than Finlay Christie and all his experience.
Hotham's the one that's jumped him. If we look at it, Hotham's the one that's jumped him. And what is he? He's actually brings something different to Hotham. I like him. If he comes off the bench, he's a little bit nippy. And also, you've got to remember, he's now preparing his role in the Highlanders as a starter. He wasn't sort of really doing that. And he'll go away, Whakatava, and sort of, and learn from that. I think Yosef for me, because he's in a struggling team. You know, Manawa, the Turbos, they've struggled. They haven't only won one sort of game. But
does that had an influence?
But he was outstanding every single game. So guys flourish when they're in a team with momentum and going forward. He was doing that for the Hurricanes. At Manawa too, exactly the same thing. He was the guy you sort of went to when you needed sort of something. He did absolutely these sort of things. But then I look at the guys he's contesting against, and there's some good Lucy's. You know, there's some good number 8, real good number 8. So I think he was possibly unlucky. But who do you swap? I thought
they wouldn't take Kirifi, but I guess Kirifi he's come off an injury. I'm a great specialist, but I just thought that these guys had sort of gone above him as a loose forward sort of trio. So, I mean, I rate Kirifi. He's been outstanding, and he's one of those guys that you go, he's unlucky, right? But anyway.
I've lost my pen. But...
Oh, that's great. nice chucky pen. No, nothing happened. Everyone heard that.
I was getting annoyed at these guys, so I just threw the pen over there. All right. Do not go anywhere. Still plenty more antics to come, including the great Ali Williams. But right after this, it is crunch time in the NPC. We've got another exclusive mic'd up with Mr. Personality, Naitoa Akoi.
To the face! Here we go! Stay! There you go! Hit out! Give me that Poof! 4, 5, 8! Not straight, sir! Not straight! Yep, surely. Fight! Dog fight, baby. Dog fight. Welcome to the dog fight, baby. There you go. My way. Hit out. Time to get paid now. Come on. Yeah! Here's our opportunity. Here we go.
This is huge. Bay of plenty. Line out is good. Airplay went.
This way.
The crowd really going to get behind them here. 1 minute to play. A try. Will put them into the semi-finals. Going good at the moment. Going good. Scoring. Yes. Bay of plenty.
What's up? Holy shit. Anyone see that? Good stuff, man. Good season, bro. Oh, what's that? Tag. Oh. Huh?
I mean, look, if the rugby hasn't been good enough for you in the NPC this season, you've got to love that. The exclusive mic'd up player access that we've been getting throughout the competition. He's the most lovable guy in rugby, isn't he? Naito Akoi. Did you three ever play with anyone like that? Welcome to the dogfight.
Yeah, no, I love personalities like him. He paints his nails and, you know, but the thing we need to respect is he's changed position. You know, started out as a 6. He's one of those guys, Mills, that keeps getting better. And I love that he's himself.
Oh, and the insights as well, right? You know, the noises.
What did you like?
Hey, I was really quiet, actually. Yeah, but, you know, I like the fact that he's sort of talking and the big moments that they sort of had. I'm not too sure about the end bit. About
What's up? What's up?
And, but that's the character he is, right?
Every so often I didn't mind talking to the crowd a little bit.
I bet
I had a
you
little
didn't.
wind in the crowd up a
I
little bit
wish
on
we
the
had a
terrace,
mic on
but
you.
No, you wouldn't want to hear some of the poor people at home. Look, I think the reality is he's 24 years old.
Yeah.
It feels as though he's been around a lot longer than that, you know. But I think when I look about the NPC and I think about what we're trying to achieve as a competition, that's the sort of stuff. You get the insights, connected to the fans. That was a really good competitive game of rugby. But just to hear those impacts and everything he's putting into the game, and he clearly loves playing.
Yeah.
You know, has a deep love of playing the game, and I'm thrilled he's made that All Blacks 15 squad because it's reward for effort. He's not just, you know, he's not the entertainer, just the entertainer. He's a heck of a player.
Just a reminder, a Bay of Plenty are the real Bay after beating Hawke's Bay on the weekend, of course, winning the quarterfinal, which means they get a home semi-final after a couple of upsets on the weekend. JK, title favourites?
Yeah, look, I think I just want to mention something. The new rules, the way the game is played now, the most I heard at the end of every game was the players saying, "We love this." The crowd was amazing at the Bay. But to answer your question, what the bloody hell happened to Christchurch? Canterbury, what happened there?
They got 3 All Blacks back.
I wasn't expecting that. So I love what the Bay have done all year.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was a great competition. I thought Taranaki would get over the Waikato. They didn't. So it's all on.
Question about Bay of Plenty. Amoni Narawa's been playing 13. Is that, you've been taking notice of his performances? He's been so busy.
Really good. In the outside channels, his ability to sort of distribute as well. But he's kind of been a 13 as well over the last few years when he's gone back to provincial. You'll see a lot of that. Guys will be out of position. I mean, McCaw playing at first 5. You know, he's usually a 12 or possibly at the back. But definitely, I think the most non-disruptive side leading into the semi-finals would have to be Bay of Plenty because they didn't have, you know, too many guys sort of coming back as the likes of Canterbury and, you know, Tasman and Taranaki possibly did.
I joke the fact that Canterbury had a couple of All Blacks back, but they did, and they probably won't be available to Canterbury this weekend. So can they go up, cause an upset? They've had an inconsistent season, haven't they?
Yeah, but if you look at the depth of their squad, and it's been inconsistent, but if you look at their record, and they've won a lot of games of rugby this year, and the experience they've got, it's actually a super rugby side. Yeah. I mean, it really is. Braden Ennor ran a beautiful line today, hasn't played a lot of rugby this year. There's some guys who have got points to prove. Dallas McLeod has been included in this All Blacks 15 squad. They were outstanding, but I'm still not... I don't know how to react to all the All Blacks coming back in for playoff games because it impacted this game because Fletcher Newell, Bell up front, and Darry was really good in the middle, and they dominated the breakdown, the set piece, which enabled them to do what they did on the outside. Mitch Drummond came back, so I look at Canterbury and, you know, it's been a short-lived... You know, if you're in Christchurch, you've suffered some pain earlier in the season, you weren't sure what you were going to get. Well, they're going to be really tough to beat for the Bay. My favourites to win it are now gone. I thought Taranaki were going to be the team to beat, but I'm not sure about the All Blacks coming in on a playoff weekend.
Well, they're paid to play. They've got to play them. I just think
they weren't all playing though. Only some.
Yeah, well, that's what I disagree with. I think if you're fit and available, you play. You get paid. Part of your contract is for your NPC side. The crowd love it. I don't know how much time they spend at training. Do they have to train the week before? So if the All Blacks want to play, I think they should play, but it possibly should be the choice of the NPC coach. But he's probably getting a phone call from Razor saying you're playing this guy because he needs to play. So I just think it needs to be, I mean, we don't know where the NPC sits. We don't know what its future looks like. We've been talking about it all year. We have people talking about it saying not fit for purpose. I think this season has been its best season. It's been some great rugby, new rules, amazing. So I'm really buoyant about it, better crowds. And we just need to go the All Blacks when they're available, need to play, because it's good for the game.
I would say I don't think the standard across the board has been quite as good. Yeah. But what we did see is the moment you injected the All Blacks into the competition at some points, they were really impactful, Mills. And I think that's where that's why I'm tossing up about, you know, you're getting to a point where you've played a competition and then in the most pivotal weekend, the quarterfinals, all of a sudden some teams get 3 or 4 really influential players, and there wouldn't be an All Black that probably played this weekend that didn't have an influence in some way on the contests. And I'm not sure that's fair for all of the teams that have battled away, have fought hard, and then they don't have access to their own, you know. Bowden Barrow understands that, well, he's Taranaki, right? Would he have been helpful? I'm pretty sure he may have been, had he been available. So I
don't see it as an issue at all.
Well, no. now they're not going to be available now going forward for the next couple of weekends. I don't know. If you were coaching one of those teams that lost and it was impacted by it, Asafa Amua had a blinder for Wellington.
I'd be saying, look, I've got a team that I think can win. I'll put them on the bench. So if the NPC coaches are getting the choice, but I think the point that you made that's quite interesting, Mills, is that they're saying that NPC is now not preparing our players for Super Rugby, and Super Rugby is not preparing our players for Test match rugby. So if you get an All Black back and he doesn't know your systems, is he still going to be that much better? Then as an NPC coach, you go, I'm going to play.
Yes, he was, and there they were.
I mean, they didn't make a small difference. They made a massive difference, and that's what it should be. When All Blacks are coming back to play, and you've got to remember, some of these All Blacks haven't played much game time over the championship, and so they do. Yeah. Over the past few years, when they've come back, it's guys that haven't had much game time, albeit a couple of starters that may think, hey, I still need to get a bit of game time. I think bring them back. The beauty of it is the standard definitely lifted.
I have no issue. They all have to play, though. They're all available.
You bring Sam Cane back for Bay of Plenty, would you?
It's up to the coach then to decide. You know?
I think it is. I think the coaches do have an influence.
This game here, Wellington Lions have been one of the teams to beat all season, coming up against Waikato, who probably surprised Taranaki on the weekend. Has Quinta Paia been one of the forgotten men? There's a lot of players in here with international experience in the NPC. Yeah,
there is, and he's been shifted around as well. Yeah. He's played on the wing. He's moved him back into the midfield. The interesting part for me is they played Canterbury a couple of weeks ago, and they looked sort of out of sync. Who's going to play 10? I know Cruden was back.
Do you know, could you ask him, some weeks he's been in, some weeks he's been out. I sort of looked at the team sheets, and when he plays, they're quite a different team. And his experience and his competitiveness, man, he's still feisty.
I think Wellington suffer from what you mentioned about the All Blacks, because Wellington have been up and down, and they were outstanding the other day, and their key players were mainly All Blacks. So they will suffer more, right?
I also think the biggest benefactor from the All Blacks coming back were Canterbury, because they've got depth. But they needed those guys back at a time where they just gone off the back of a hiding from North Harbour. Yeah. They whip into Waikato, and then they've display that, and now they've sort of gone. They're looking really good leading into the finals.
Who's the favourite? Is there a favourite?
Is there a favourite for the NPC right now?
No, and that's what's great about it.
I think you want to pick Canterbury.
I don't.
Oh, sorry.
Ever.
Are you sure?
No. Do you? You were Crusaders this year.
Hey, listen, I pay rates in the Bay of Plenty.
Okay, JK. Okay, so you're jumping on board now. Okay, I feel you, and I'm happy with it. You're Waikato, obviously. Who are you jumping on board with?
I'll tell you what, I'm going to go with. I'll go with Wellington. There you go.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go with Wellington. I'll jump around. I'm happy with that.
Okay, well, there is still plenty more to come. Do not go anywhere here on The Breakdown. The next instalment of Game Changers is coming up next, and I guess you could call him a goat. It's the one and only Richie McCaw.
Go on.
Here it is for Ali Williams, the big fellow. Can he play Aussie rules? New Zealand rules. Chance for Williams. He's got it. There's the opening try, scored by Ali Williams. He's going to take it quickly, puts the kick in, and it's got to be a try. Don't nail it. Williams down the right wing side, crashing for the corner, stretches out try. Ali Williams, you've got to be kidding.
Game Changers is proudly brought to you by Bundaberg Ginger Beer.
Oh, Richie was a role model, the ultimate, if you like. He was the pinnacle of total dedication to the group.
They're standing at Eden Park.
Never seen that at Eden Park before. score for a player. Incredible.
He was such a focused athlete. I don't think we'd seen anything like that, and I certainly probably haven't seen anything like it since.
Richie led from the front, methodical in his preparation, enhancing, making sure that guys sort of come with him.
Richie McCaw storming up to the 22. McCaw!
It's that high standard that he brought to everything he did. It's almost like setting the benchmark for every player. I think when a player sets a level like that and has the respect of everyone around them, that's the baseline. That's where you need to be at least.
Big top pass. Beautiful hands, Richie McCaw.
He was just determined to be the best that he could be.
Brilliant player, very bright, understood the game, pushed himself to the absolute limit. Now, you couldn't have given any more.
When he first became an All Black, the first thing he wrote down is, I want to be a great All Black, I don't just want to be an All Black. So that tells you a little bit about the mentality of the guy. Because of that and the way he played, he earned the respect of everybody, coaches, players, fans, media. He earned it. Once you do that, then you don't want to let him down.
Didn't want to muck up around them, you know. They understood how focused he was on his preparation, so I'd say revered. That's how a lot of the players would look at him. It's not a trait that every player has, so it was quite a powerful thing.
Richie was a geek. Everything was about rugby, right? He often, his balance, it's probably rugby in itself, right? He was so focused, on the job at hand, and that's why he's one of the greatest.
Because he was the perfectionist, doing everything right. Other guys tried to do the same.
Here's the Wipers kick. Reid, beautiful from Reid, holds it up. Oh, that's magnificent! Richie McCaw in the corner.
I remember being at school and he's playing for the All Blacks, and watching him as an idol, as a hero of mine. On my first trip away for Canterbury, I actually roomed with Richie and I was shitting my pants, right? And then I guess once I made the All Blacks, for 8 years till he retired, we trained together every day. But man, we could talk rugby all day, every day, and really special time for me to be able to sit there and just learn off that and adapt my style for when when he left and I could be captain was huge.
Here's the new McCaw. He's put in a lot of tackles already.
I remember when he first started, all he could do was pinch the ball at breakdown, and he's a talented player, but not as talented as some of the other guys we had, but he had a work ethic that was unbelievable. He gave all those kids out there that weren't super talented and the belief that if you work hard, you can be as good as all these guys that are talented. If they don't work hard, I'll be better than them.
One blocks through. Quick pass to Gerrard. Gerrard for the corner. McCaw got across and nailed him 5 metres out. Oh, that's a superb turnover if they've got it. They probably should have scored if it wasn't for McCaw. The battle scars showing.
They often talk about moments, winning big moments, right? And he won moment after moment after moment, right? The amount of mental work that he probably would have put into that would have been huge.
And every campaign, he would want to work on something that would make him better, and he would master it. By the time he finished, he could do everything.
Oh, knee, yeah, Cooper. That's a bit low.
This is a guy that's targeted all the time, right? He's targeted at the breakdown, he's targeted, there he's on defence, they want to run and try and hurt him. But he was tough.
He could play through an injury, we saw that in the final. Semi-final and final, he played with a broken toe. And all he wanted was a bit of a modified training, and he got through it.
Wow. You're looking at a guy like that and comes off battered and bruised, but he loved to do it again, recover well, and that's not just a game here and a game there. This was every test match.
He was called our worst leader ever when we lost in 2007.
And the All Blacks are the world champions for the second time.
And he became our best leader. I think that tells you the mentality of the guy. Okay, I had a failure, but that's not going to stop me from being successful. It's okay to fail, but go out and learn from it. He showed a lot of people that.
Well, it's impossible to follow in the footsteps of Richie McCaw, but if you're going to do it, go big or go home. So we've brought in the biggest personality we could find in Auckland, former Rugby World Cup winner and All Blacks legend, Ali Williams. Welcome to the programme.
Team. How are we? I feel like I'm always living in his shadow, right? We just came here and watched 20 minutes of Richie McCaw highlights. I saw him yesterday.
Haven't you missed him?
I always miss him, mate. He's a lovable little man, is he? And yesterday I see him, you know what? He's a great dad too. He does it all. The speed and agility he showed yesterday to catch his daughter's glass that was just about to fall off the table. Still well done, Richard. Well done.
Well, who's the biggest personality in Auckland? Are you giving it to...
Well, you've got two potential future mayors.
This is going to be a great scrap.
Yeah. Different generations.
Would you vote for Ali for mayor?
Well, he could be your deputy.
Yeah, I'm happy with
that. You happy with that?
He's better looking.
Wayne Brown's all right, isn't he? He's going to give you the okay to build a new stadium, isn't he?
Well, I won't be building it, but fingers crossed.
We know that. We know
fingers
that.
crossed Auckland needs something like that.
Well, that's the real reason why we've brought you on, isn't it? Because Auckland finally have an A-League club, the Black Knights, Auckland FC, which you're a big part of. Football. It was your sport before rugby. We've even got a few clips of you wanting to be a footballer on the rugby field. So tell us why football?
Simply, I used to play football till I was 16, and we believe as a collective group of ownership from different levels, Bill, Anna, and then a lot of others, Steve Adams, Tim Brown, Noah Hickey and Winston Reid, we believe that there's an ability to make a change in a sport in New Zealand and especially in Auckland. And I think if you look about what the pathway is at the moment, there's not enough of it, and this is going to harness that. And you put in women's football as well, then we can make football a bigger game in the city because there's a lot of people playing it.
Ali, what is the salary cap, and how did you sort of start from scratch, and how do you become competitive in what's a pretty good league?
Jeez, big details there, JK. I'm a bit more.
Are you just the face of the? You're just the face of the team.
Definitely not the face. I've never been the face. Overview is basically you have the salary cap, give or take 3 mil, and then what happens is you have 5 players outside that salary cap to promote talent, all sorts of players coming down to the league. And, collectively, I think the structure is different. So every club owns a portion of the league, which means that we are growing the league collectively to make it a better league worldwide. And, if I sort of simplify it when people talk about football, where does it sit? Well, our league's sort of here. You've got 4 or 5 other leagues that players can aspire to be in and to make money like you've never seen before. It's crazy.
So for me, I love my football, sorry guys, but so is this like a business opportunity? You think that you can grow a franchise and then on-sell it? So you say you're partners with the league. Is that like the Italian league where every team gets 35 million in the TV rights, so you get a percentage of the TV rights and you can start building it as a franchise to then sell on?
Correct. Yeah, that is the business element to it. We're not doing it for that element. You look at some of the owners that have come in. It's generally creating that pathway. We look at Stephen Adams and his course into the NBA. We look at Winston Reid. He had to leave the country. Chris Wood, people like that. Where this is now creating this pathway. Now, why is it creating this pathway? Bill Foley has 4 other clubs, football clubs in the world. We have, give or take, 30 scouts amongst his bigger group, which now sees talent in New Zealand. And one of the best part about it is our talent identification group is now looking firsthand at some of the talent coming out of New Zealand. And they are pleasantly surprised. There is a lot of kids playing football and there is a lot of energy going into it, which is the exciting part to propel them to better things. And then what does that leave us? That leaves us with a better national team.
What has been the exciting part? I mean, this is a totally different role for you, mate. And you're going into fishy mentality. I remember sitting next to you in the changing rooms. You go, here come the fishies. You're now one of those, bro. So, I mean, how exciting is that for you? And what have you done to sort of, challenge yourself in that department? And also, I want to ask, what does success look like? What do you when you say you want to change things, is it winning the championship in 3 years' time? And what does it look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting being on the other side. Football as a player side is very, very different. These kids do and players look for opportunities. It is a lot more transient in terms of where they go. What does success look like? Mate, of course you want to win, right? The other thing is I want to build characters. I want to build people. We want to harness the women's game. We believe there's huge opportunity there, but success is victory, full stadiums, and showing sport as entertainment, not just the boring stuff.
And you're a fishy. And you're a good fishy.
It's about making change.
You mentioned something really interesting to me because we love a stadium in Auckland. Oh, we love a stadium. And you've talked about the possibility of creating a new stadium, right? Specific for football. And would that include the possibility of maybe inviting Auckland Rugby over to come and possibly play there?
I think the picture of a stadium in our eyes is an entertainment precinct. So when you talk about would Auckland Rugby or Blues or whoever, Warriors, whatever, would they come and play? If it's an entertainment precinct, yes, of course they would. And would we allow them? Of course we would. This is an element where we want to change and show the people of New Zealand and Auckland that sport is fun. Let's not get too serious. And that's the best part about being where I'm in at the moment is we want to make it exciting. Football, historically, and respect my footballers around the world, but it's a hard game sometimes and it can get boring, but it's about the people. It's about the entertainment. It's about the crowd. Some of the crowd is unbelievable. Like the passion that's coming out of our supporter group already is insane. And we want to show New Zealanders that this is what it should be like, you know? And so if you create that with the ethnicity and the all-inclusiveness of football, because it's a massive global game, then that's the change. That's the change. And for us, you know, as a group, in terms of let's just talk Anna and I, you know, the family and the kids and all them can get involved. And I just got to the kiddie there.
Sell out. You want to sell out the first game, Ali, obviously, for a few more tickets. Is the excitement out there? How are we going?
Yeah, there's a few more tickets, but I mean, ticket sales have been going gangbusters. So jump along. I mean, people remember the first time what are you laughing at? They remember the time the Warriors had their first game. Can you remember it?
Yep.
People still remember where they were.
I signed up, Ali.
There you go, mate. He was out there. He was doing this thing. That is what we're trying to create.
Do you know why I'm laughing?
I can't wait.
Because there's been a little bit of pot stirring. Now that there's 2 A-League teams in New Zealand, the Wellington Phoenix, there's been jibes on social media. There was a streaker with an Auckland FC top on. You poached the Phoenix best player. It's certainly not your style to stir the pot, is it?
It's mate versus mate. But here's the best part, right? It's actually New Zealand versus the capital. Cantabrians, get on board. Cantabrians, get on board.
Get on board with Auckland FC.
With Auckland FC, come. Dunedin,
only
get
Ali
on
would say
board.
that.
This is what we're going to do. We're going to make a change and we're going to go down to the capital and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it.
Can we just bring up one of your finest moments? And I know you're going to absolutely love this because it's like you always wanted to be a football player on the All Blacks field anyway.
I believe, Ali, you got told off for that.
Did you?
I got a bollocking. Graham Henry said that is the fastest way to get yourself to the Northern Hemisphere and completely just disintegrate and no one knows who you are. Dougie and I still play this over and over again on a night out, but that was one of those brain explosion moments that came off. And I think you were probably calling it too. You were promoting me to...
Oh, absolutely I was, bro. Yeah. Hey, you know.
And then he came in the changing room and said, it came off your shin, didn't it?
So what I love is your CV's expanding, right? I've got the perfect opportunity and it closes at the end of the week. Can we show what's available? And if you want to get on the board of New Zealand Rugby, it's the options there. Ali Williams. Oh, this is across the country. You've got until the end of the week, the 20th, I think, JK, to put your CV in to get
I tried to apply.
You tried to apply.
I tried to apply the other day, but you need a CV.
I can get you a CV on Zeal.com, my wife's new company. They can even make you a CV. You jump on there and apply to that. Perfect.
So that's what I'm going to do.
Do it.
I'm applying.
You're in. Mills, are you in?
You're applying?
Oh, why not?
So this is going to be the board.
I actually did a
40% woman curse.
You can
apply.
Yeah, I rang up and they actually declined me. They said go to football.
Did they?
That's what they said.
Well, I'm putting my name in. We'll see who gets kicked out first. That's what we'll have a race on.
I will.
Oh, I don't know.
You can't get kicked out if you're not in, boys. So
we won't get past the first place.
Just before we let you
go.
Zeal
for the CV. I need a CV.
We've got a giveaway for you. The Game Changers has now become a book written by Jim Case, who's done all the hard work. He's done all the interviews. If you answer this question...
No,
that's your great mate, Richie McCaw. He is one of the Game Changers. Answer this simple question. What year and opponent was Richie McCaw's first test as captain? There is the question on the bottom of the screen. Send it to us on our breakdown email. No, you cannot. But those who get the correct answer...
It was Wales, team. Good luck.
I wouldn't trust that answer.
Go Auckland FC. Go the boys.
Welcome to Wrexham. Is there a welcome to Auckland FC?
Well, funny you say that, team. Funny you say that. Stay tuned. Things are going to be different around here. And our good partners at Sky, they've come on board. She's unplugging everyone.
Oh, you are brilliant, aren't you? Well done. And you're supporting Bay of Plenty this weekend in the NPC now that Auckland are gone.
Is Auckland out?
Auckland are long gone.
Nah, can't be possible. Can't be possible. City of Sales never dies. And go Emirates Team New Zealand.
Yes.
That is awesome, isn't it? Well, great. AFC. Get your tickets.
Auckland FC this weekend, Mount Smart Stadium against the Brisbane Roar this
trying to go,
Saturday.
mate.
We're trying to go. We're about 2 minutes over, so you've had an extra 2 minutes on the program. We could have him on for the next 2 hours. Thank you for your time. Thanks for joining us. Thank you as well, and we'll see you next week on The Breakdown.
Strong charge, gets the call. Higgins down the sideline, and he makes it. Going good at the moment. Going good. Going good. Scoring. Yes! By a penalty.
As Rowe looks away for Norris. He's very close. He reaches and scores.
Bell frees it away. Nice move into the ball and slices